Hey, Betty Zoom. Welcome to Talking Niagara and welcome everybody to Talking Niagara. Yeah, good morning all. Good morning, Dave. How you doing?
Not bad yourself.
Yeah, not too bad. So, did you see the article I sent you last night about crude oil blending?
Yes, I did.
Right. So, blending is being used for decades to optimize, allows refineries to optimize their fuel production processes and to utilize a broader range of crude oils. And this flexibility helps refineries adapt to changing market dynamics, such as fluctuations in pricing and shifts in product demand. Right. So they're utilizing the differences in the crude as part of the manufacturing processes that they're taking. And I found out about this. I found out about this when I was working with the British Petroleum back in the 80s.
Yeah. So the article here says, well, I guess it makes a lot of sense that they blend different crudes like they blend coals. Like when I was
Yeah,
worked down at Nanacoke when they
yeah,
had coals, they blended different kinds of coals to get the optimum output.
yeah,
But
because
here it is. But it also says like say in the United States has a lot of very light sweet crude, which is not optimal for its refineries. So what it
yeah,
does is it blends some of it with the crude that comes from Canada and they make a lot of their own crude. They have a lot of their own heavy crude from their old fashioned wells,
yeah,
but the stuff that they frack is very light sweet crude.
yeah,
So they blend some of that, but the refineries require they need the heavy crude. So there's only so much they can blend in
yeah.
for
They probably
optimum
don't
effect.
use it as they probably don't use it as much here in North America because you've had pure access to pure oils, crude oils, whereas in Europe you've got to remember wind back to the time of the Second World War, and we took any damn crude we could get our hands on in order to create fuel for our ships, etc. So we had to blend.
Yeah. Well, ships you could use bunker C, which is that's the very heavy bitumen
Well, but
we
they would
talked
have
about
also
in an
used coal.
article earlier on.
Yeah, they would have also used coal in the Second World War for many ships as well.
Probably, yeah. The 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 real thing here is a blending of crudes to optimize refinery, and also in case there's a sort of a disruption in the balance, you got heavy crude over here and you have light crude over here. Some of your heavy crude, something's happened, so you've got less of that, so you can maybe add a little bit
Oh,
more light crude
yeah,
to the
and
mix.
it's basically things like sulfur content, TAN, and API ratings that they need to blend, and this actually has something to do with the things that they're manufacturing out of the crude at any particular time. And I'm you probably know more about the splitting process of crude oil than I do.
Cracking, yeah, the cracking.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this guy, if you ever see it, it's a long, thin tower, and that's called the cracker.
yeah,
And what they do is they break down the areas of the fuel, and the top is
but
certain
yeah,
grade, and all the way down to the bottom.
yeah,
And some of the leftover stuff is from the process actually gets into asphalt and so on. Eh?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to throw that one in to you. Okay, so the one item we didn't get to yesterday was the Buy Canadian policy has been flagged by the US as a trade irritant.
well, when I read this, they're really nitpicking a lot. They're looking for
They are.
they're looking for an advantage over Canada in reasons by which they can put tariffs or because what they're getting is a lot of resistance that it doesn't make sense. The kind of tariffs they have on Canada doesn't make sense, and more of the American politicians, particularly in states that rely on Canada for a trading partner.
Yeah.
I think there's like 30 or 20 or 17 that 17 that number one trading partner is Ontario itself, I think.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you take all the rest of Canada, and you've got about 20 states that...
All the border states trade heavily with Canada. Even places like Montana and North Dakota and places like that, they all trade heavily with Canada.
Well, the American administration, yeah, and being under that kind of pressure, the American administration has to start to nitpick.
Yeah.
And one of the things it's doing, it says, well, you know, one of the things you're doing that's we're not gonna like is this. You're fighting back. You're fighting back. How dare you? Yeah. How dare you fight back?
And Mike says one thing: the only irritant is illegal tariffs.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and basically they're saying, how dare you fight back? How dare you? How dare you fight back? Yeah. And how dare you talk to your people and say, buy Canada first, like buy Canada. Well, isn't that what they're doing in the States right now? Buy American, buy American. Exactly. They're doing that all over. So what they're saying,
doing it, why not us?
Yeah, what they're saying is, you can't say that, but we can.
Yeah,
and they're also saying, okay, go ahead.
Personally, I'm not. There is, there are things that I bought that I have that are American produced. I'm still buying them today because, because there isn't a Canadian alternative to them.
Well, I think we should deport you. Go back to the old world, buddy.
Well, yeah, but you see, I
become a Canadian. You want to be in America? Go to America. I'll give you the big
for
finger.
example, I use a toothpaste that comes out of Maine. I do not use Colgate Palmolive toothpaste, which 90% of people in Canada use. I don't use big manufactured toothpaste. The one I make is made by a little outfit in Maine. So,
well, I tell you, the one thing I do buy probably every second week is a small container of walnuts. But that's the only thing I buy from the United States now when I go grocery shopping or anything. Yeah. And I've cut out certain things in my diet if I can't get them from anywhere else but the United States. So this is an irritant buy Canadian for them, which I don't understand since they do the Buy America thing. And they say the irritant taking the alcohol off the shelves, the provinces. That's the choice of the province. That's the choice of the province, though. That is our choice. They can do the same thing down there. They can take our whiskey off their shelves if they want to.
Yeah.
Who knows? So they could do that as well. So that's a choice that we have. And so we're fighting back. Oh, how dare you? How dare you fight back? And see that kind of thing puts pressure on puts pressure on the U.S. negotiators because California says to them, "Look what you've done. That was our biggest exported market, and now they're not buying our stuff. What's the matter with you? You know, like you're killing our jobs, right?"
Yeah, I think it was wrong to actually take the booze off the market. Not buying fresh is different. Taking it off the shelves was wrong. All right.
No, I agree. I agree completely. I agree. You got to fight back somehow. Taking Tennessee whiskey off the shelves, right? You've got Rand Paul on our side now. He wants the Kuzma thing fixed up because Rand Paul's. Well, he's from what, Kentucky, or is he from Tennessee? Yeah. Kentucky, I think, right?
Kentucky,
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Kentucky bourbon that came here, and of course they're making less Kentucky bourbon, selling less. I want
my Kentucky bourbon back.
Well, you know what? If they're going to fight dirty, you got to fight dirty back. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's a lot of things. Well, we shouldn't be elbows up. Elbows up means we're fighting back, and but there's all these people think we should cow down and bow and sort of crawl to the feet of the president of the United States. Give him an award or something, give him a peace award, or give him a block of gold, anything, and call him Lord Protector of the entire world. We're not going to do that. We got a little bit of dignity, You know, we don't cowl like that, and that's what they don't like. You are subservient. You should bow down.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not, and that annoys them.
Yeah.
And anyways, it's just an excuse. It's just an excuse how when it comes to bargaining time. Aha, this is you won't get, you know, you won't allow our booze on your, you know. So that's there's nothing in the trade agreement says you have to use that booze, you know. But there's other irritants. They bring up the dairy all the time, but the dairy is so small. It is a tiny, tiny part of the amount of money that goes back and forth across the border. And the U.S. is permitted, and nobody says this in these articles, particularly the U.S. articles, that there's a certain amount of milk and dairy products that are allowed to come into Canada tariff-free.
Yeah.
And they never meet that threshold. They only come up about half of it. Let's say, for instance, let's say they're allowed 200 million gallons of milk in Canada tariff-free. Well, they only send 100.
Yeah.
They're allowed X amount of cheese tariff-free. Well, they don't send all of that, which is allowed. After that point, it's tariffed highly, but up until that point, it's not tariffed, and they don't even make that tariff threshold. But they like to use dairy as a look at this 300% markup. Well, no, it's only 300% markup after you meet the threshold, and this is always happens. And to reiterate, dairy is a tiny, tiny part of the whole thing, but they use it all the time. As in, look what Canada does to us. They put a 300% tariff on our milk. That is very deceptive.
Okay, Rick. It would be nice if we did not have GST. Yes, of course. Every sales tax is arguably bad, but GST isn't going away, and GST has got nothing to do. Well, a lot of what been talking about here is food products, and they don't attract GST anyway.
Well, yeah, it's a good idea, Rick, but when Harper came in, he reduced the overall tax from 16 to 15% during his time, and that was a loss for Canadian revenue. That was a big loss for Canadian revenue. Right now, we find none of our politicians are willing to put away their credit card basically and overspend. They want to overspend on everything. And we cannot get past, and this is not just us, it's Western democracies. We cannot stop spending more than we make. We are people who have no control over our spending. We don't budget well, the Western democracies, and we're continually and always in debt. That's why you're always going to find taxes, a pressure to put up more taxes, because they want to go into more debt, and they can't go into any more debt because the bank says, look, you don't have the capacity to pay it back. So we're not going to give you any more money.
Yeah.
We uncomfortably live in this zone where I would like to see the 15% reduced too. But what you would have to do is get politicians in office that say, we're only going to spend what we make. And what we're going to do in order to make more money, we'll stimulate the economy. If we stimulate the economy, we'll get more taxes that way instead of boosting the tax burden on the middle class. Free money.
Yeah, I think he's meaning it's free money coming in for the government.
Yeah, like
you know.
Anyway,
yeah. So moving. Anything else on that?
Not really. It's just a bargaining thing. They're the way in which they run their narrative that Canada is really bad and evil and has really duped the U.S. year after year after year. Now you find that pretty unlikely, don't you?
Absolutely.
That the U.S. has been dumb and foolish, and every other administration before Trump just gave away the farm. No. If you remember the original NAFTA agreements, we have a guy by the name of Sam Rosenthal, I think his name was, something like that anyway. And he was a vigorous vigorous trade negotiator. In fact, the American counterpart just was calm about it, and and just said, well, this is what it's going to be, and that's all there is. And Mulroney assigned Rosenthal to be our guy, and
okay.
I don't know. He worked basically what they came up with. Canada worked very hard in getting the best deal it could, but so did the U.S. You know.
And Rick is right that a tariff is a tax. Yep, it's a
yes,
sales
it is.
tax. Yeah, it's a
yes,
sales
it is,
tax.
and it's not a graduated tax. It's a tax that puts most of the burden on the poor, because the person that makes $30,000 a year in the United States pays the same 15% as when he buys a bicycle or something than the rich guy does.
But again, that's the same. That's the same for sales tax generally, anyway. Because if your sales tax is 15%, your tariff's 15%. The guy, whether you're a millionaire or a pauper, you still pay 15% sales tax on the bike.
Yeah. So this whole tariff was not designed to hurt the rich. It was designed to hurt the poor.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna bear these extra charges, and they say, well, we charged the China another 15%. No, you didn't. You just charged that poor slob that's going to Walmart trying to find clothes for his kids, right?
Yeah,
that's who you charged.
All right, moving on. Iran is denying that Trump says it wants a ceasefire.
Yeah, Iran has denied it the whole time through. As I don't know if you watched the.
I'm being very amused by these propaganda videos, the propaganda war that's going on between the two nations. Right?
Well, we'll get to
that in a minute. Because that, I think, is part of the AI discussion, realistically.
Well, at one point there, Trump said, they're asking for a deal, but they negotiate very strangely. They say they don't want a deal. What?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's get into this particular narrative. Go ahead.
It is true that in many past wars we've had situations whereby the press have been talking about what the army and what the nation is publicly saying, but behind the scenes there's phone activity going on trying to negotiate peace settlements, peace negotiations, or some form of deal that allow the nations to get out of it, even though publicly those nations can't actually even admit that those deals even exist.
Well, yeah, but truth is the first victim of war. Yeah, and we found that the Israelis particularly have lied. The U.S. has lied. They keep changing their narrative about this or that, and of course the Iranians are lying. Of course, everybody's lying. Yeah, So here we are, and the United States has killed just about Israel has, but with help from the United States, has killed just about every ruling military or high-end political figure in the country. Maybe 100, maybe more. We do on the first day they killed nearly 50 of the top-ranking officials in Iran, and they have continued to do that. And they most recently have taken out the guy who ran the Navy. His mistake was he texted his family. He took the risk of texting his family. As soon as he did that, they picked up on him and let him go. So the Iranians are beginning to learn how to keep their head down. They haven't put the Khomeini up. No one knows where he is. As soon as they stick his head up, they're going to kill him.
But they haven't touched people like the Prime Minister or the Foreign Ministry spokespeople.
Well, they don't have any real power.
Yeah,
they don't have any real power. That's why they're left there. They could take them out too, and just another person will just pop up. Another person will just pop up and speak again. So they're going to have to talk to somebody. Yeah. But anyway, so everybody's lying, of course. The whole reason for the war is one big lie. That Iran's going to build a missile and put a bomb on it to reach the United States. Yeah, no. Korea has a bomb with a missile that reached the United States. Has it done anything? It's threatened the United States over and over again.
Yeah,
How did Trump stop? How did Trump stop that?
This. Yeah,
well,
it's doing this,
but,
isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Well, how did Trump stop that in his first term? Right. Kim Jong-un kept saying he's going to shoot a bomb. He's got a missile and a bomb that he's going to send it towards the U.S. And what did Trump do? This is one thing I think I liked about what he did. He made a picture in the UN. He made a picture of Kim Jong-un's red button, right? Nuclear button, and it was really small. And then he made a picture of America's nuclear button, which was really big. You press that, we press this. No more word out of Kim, right? Yeah. Do you think the Iranians would actually throw a bomb towards the United States on a rocket?
No. They don't have the capability. From what from all the military intelligence that we get to see, they don't have the capability, and they probably don't have the willpower to do it.
It wouldn't make any sense for them to do that.
Yeah,
they have enough enemies in and around their area there, and that's what I maintain. If they want to bomb, it's for deterrent purposes.
Yeah,
that's it. But of course, they change the narrative all the time. I listened to Rubio the other day, and half of what he said was just rubbish. The other half was half rubbish. So they come up with these reasons, but Iran has said there's no negotiations going on. And they say, oh, well, we got Pakistan and Turkey and Egypt passing messages. And they're saying passing messages back and forth happens all the time. But these are not negotiations. Nobody's sitting down at a table. There is no negotiations going on. And we don't want to negotiate anyway, because we've negotiated with you back in June, and we negotiated back in just a little over a month ago. And what happened when we negotiated? Right in the middle of negotiations, you attacked us.
Yeah.
You attacked us the night of Thundering or Midnight Hammer or whatever it was. Yeah. We were still in the middle of negotiations, and you bombed us. And then we were in negotiations, and you even said the Omani official said, "Oh, we're getting close to a deal," and then you bombed the crap out of us and killed all our leaders and blew up all kinds of our stuff. We didn't attack you; you attacked us.
Yeah. 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 All right. Yeah. Okay. So, and this is kind of related. Is AI making you dumb? You put this thing up there, and I'm making it related because of the fact that we've got these AI generated propaganda videos by both the US and Iran being shown on YouTube right now, and there's some of the most popular entertainment out there, right? But they're AI generated, and but you went to an CBC radio story about Alex Panetta, a journalist.
Yeah, I haven't really, I really haven't got into that yet. I was leaving that. I was going to leave that for Science Friday because it's kind of
but we're not here tomorrow.
I don't think we have a whole lot of time to get into it.
Yeah, we're not here tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone's going to miss me so bad.
And again, so we're not here tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday, right? Because it's Easter weekend this weekend, right? So happy Easter, everybody.
We don't get Easter Monday off?
You want Easter Monday off? I'm working Monday.
Oh, okay. Well, then we don't get Easter Monday off.
Anyway, yeah. All right, yeah. So here's a question about this is that, there's a lot of people saying out here that the question about AI has been, this journalist has basically been saying he's been using AI in his own life and interrogating how this technology can impact our ability to think critically. And it says he asked the question, will AI make us dumber? I think we're getting fairly dumb without the use of AI anyway.
Well, computers did too. But on the other hand, I find all kinds the computer power a beautiful thing. I can find information at a snap of a finger. I don't have to go down to the library and dig through books and try to find out what I need to know. I can find out very quickly on this, and AI will do some of the search for me on my handheld device here.
Yeah.
So, but there is that point, and I'll put it this way: many years ago, and I forget which kingdom it was. It might have been the British Kingdom or whatever. When it was put to the king, we should have more people learn how to read and write. We need more people to read and write. And the king says that will make them too weak. That will make them too weak, and they won't use their brains. They'll just use a book. It's not a good idea to have a lot of people reading and writing. They won't be able to use this anymore. They won't be able to determine things on their own. That'll make them weak of mind. That was his argument. And but we found that now pretty much everybody knows how to read and write now. And has it made us weaker or stupider? It may have sort of dulled some of our computational abilities because we don't have to use them as much anymore. But we are advancing very much ahead of time. If suddenly all the books and all the computers were gone, could we then survive without them? Probably not. You get some guy in Africa or Asian country that lives in the jungle. They can survive quite nicely without a book or a computer.
It would kill us. It would kill us if we lost all our books and all our computer devices, etc., etc. But you're right. The guy who's been living in the jungle, which in whatever land you care to mention, he'll be just going on tomorrow exactly as he did today.
Yeah, if you go to New Guinea, you know, and you talk to the people that Jared Diamond did when he wrote Guns, Germs, and Steel. Yeah, that's a great book, by the way. I recommend it highly. Well, even if you don't believe in his theory, it's just fascinating.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video series that has been putting out by this person in Vietnam who basically took over the hut that his father owned. He decided, hey, enough with city life. He took over this hut in the jungle that his father owned, or grandfather, I'm not sure which, and basically decked it out so that he can live there properly. He's got a kitchen. He does everything native. He does everything on the field. The only thing that I think he does that's modern tech is the fact that he records the video of him living a simple life.
Well, let me tell you the conditions of Vietnam. I talked to an Army medic, a U.S. Army doctor, actually, who'd done a term or two of duty in the Vietnam War. Yeah. He told me what it was, and I was in Vietnam. I had been to Vietnam, and when I talked to him, he told me what Vietnam was like when he was there. It was a brutally poor country with a lot of people dying of diseases that nobody over here died of, and had all kinds of ailments and things like that we had long left years ago. If you go to Vietnam now, you will find a very prosperous little nation.
Absolutely.
And it's not like that anymore.
But he basically took this thing that he turned his not entirely turned his back off on the city, because he still takes he grows crops, and he trades his crops in the city to make what little money he needs in order to buy the things that he needs. But he lives basically off the farm.
Well, don't ask me to do that.
I'm not asking.
I wouldn't be able to survive.
I'm just. It occurs to me that he's a guy that would just get on with life if AI computers and books all failed.
Maybe so. But what we would find if all those things failed, you'd have a lot of competition for that land. So another guy sees that he's got a nice little farm that produces, and he's got a bigger club. You just whack him on the head and take his farm away from
him. Well, there is that.
Yeah,
there is that. One of the things I would say that I've been using AI for, and I'm just gonna, I use AI fairly frequently, and one of the things that I use AI for is actually to make the words I use better. Right.
well, yeah,
I've often created a document and I've read the document and I've said, you know what? I'm not so pleased with how this document is reading. I need it to be, and I change, so I ask AI to change the style of the wording that I'm using. Sometimes more aggressive, sometimes more demand. I want somebody to respond on this email. Please make it more effective to their response. You get it? I mean,
yeah. Well, I think that there is something to this, that AI is going to make us dumber. There is something to it. I wouldn't really put it that way, though. What AI is going to do is take away a lot of our jobs. It's going to take away it's going to take hunks of your job away. It's going to take hunks of it's even if I was a millwright and I was on a job and I was taking apart a machine, then my boss might just say, all right, we put this through AI and this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to do this bolt first and that bolt next, and I'd be just frustrated out of my mind. I've done this 100 times. Get out of here. I'm not going to let AI tell me what to do. They're going to say, says we need NI natural intelligence. What is NI natural? Oh, no, NI natural intelligence. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know what we're going to do when AI starts to encroach upon. It's going to take away. AI is going to take away a lot of jobs. You can think of accounting jobs. How many they're gone? They could be gone pretty quickly. Lawyering jobs.
No,
tons and tons of that could be taken away.
Actually, there's two things to note. ChatGPT has made a recent announcement, and ChatGPT cannot be used for finding medical advice, and it cannot be used for finding legal advice.
It doesn't mean that a lawyer couldn't use it and dismiss half of the staff.
A lawyer can use it certainly to shortcut things. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you might not need a legal aid, or he doesn't need his assistant now because he's got AI. And I can tell you this too, in areas where there's a lot of programming happening, and I can tell you this because I know someone who is a programmer for Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company says, use AI as an assistant. Use AI as assistant as if there's a junior one of you, like a junior, he's your assistant, kind of like your apprentice. And when you're doing code and stuff, use AI. And AI does a really good job. It does a lot quicker than the average coder. But then the average coder has got to go through it and make sure that it's done right. But they can do it rather quickly.
I haven't built any systems for 20 years, Dave. I'm now coding an AI solution for something that I think the legal industry needs, right? A new system that the legal industry needs that I'm going to be selling hopefully next year.
How many jobs is that going to take away?
No, it's probably going to create a few jobs.
Well, basically what they're saying here, though, is every economist who you give license to speak about it, they all say the same thing. AI could take over incredibly all kinds of things, and leave a lot of people on.
If it's used right, and if we have the right legislation, it should hopefully get
the right legislation. That's rich. They're gonna go with whatever the rich guy says, right? You know what I mean? If the rich guy says he wants AI and out with you, it's going to be a struggle to get you back in job, right? And if the rich guy says, I want slaves to pick my cotton, the rich guy gets what he wants until there's enough people say, no, we don't want that anymore. It's going to take time. You know what I mean? So
anyway, yeah.
in any case, back to the original question, is AI making us dumb? No, in many ways it's making us smarter. However, it is taking a lot of our thinking away from us, and that is really something that has been an issue. And I think Stephen Hawking's warned about this as well. You don't want it to do a lot of your thinking for you. You still have to have control. AI can learn. It can learn on its own, and pretty soon you're relying entirely on it, and it's making all the decisions for you. That's the point of this particular revolution, human revolution, societal revolution, that we have to be most concerned about. That idea that AI will make us unnecessary.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Let's move on. To Saudi and UAE are willing to put boots on the ground to open up the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah, well, I believe that when I see it. The Saudi and UAE armies are probably not all that good. Why do you think they have Americans there? Americans have a presence in Saudi Arabia. They have a presence in the UAE. They have a presence in Qatar. They have an enormous military base in Qatar. Why do you think the Iranians are fighting those people? They're not fighting the UAE they're fighting against allies of the United States. So they're trying to blow up military bases in Saudi Arabia. Well, they had some success blowing up a U.S. military base in Saudi Arabia recently, where they took out an AWAC and a couple of refueling planes, which cost the United States $1 billion right there, $1 billion. The taxpayer, the U.S. taxpayer, they hurt 10 soldiers, so hopefully they're not hurt that bad. They injured 10 U.S. soldiers, but they destroyed $1 billion worth of stuff with a couple of drones and a missile. So it cost them $100,000 to wipe out $500 million worth of stuff. I mean, the AWAC itself could possibly have been worth $500 million, let alone the other aircraft that it took out.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they're getting sick of this. They want it to end. I think they're joining the chorus, as if to say to Iran, well, we'll join in, we'll put more money in, we'll do anything we want. And Iran is saying, well, we're going to destroy the whole oil infrastructure if you keep coming after us. Mm-hmm. I think it's come to an impasse, basically. And the United States is, according to Trump last night, the United States is losing interest in the place, and they don't care about the Straits of Hormuz. We don't know if he's telling the truth or not. We don't know if he's going to go after Karg Island or whatever. Anyway, so these other countries are getting annoyed. They have been enemies of Iran all along, and I will point this out again and again and again. Saudi Arabia is a very strict Sunni Muslim country.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. What do Sunnis think of Shias? They think of them as heretics.
Yes, exactly.
You might as well take us back 500 years or 400 years ago, when there was a 30 years war in Europe, whereas the Protestants and the Catholics thought each of the other were demonic representations of Christianity.
Yeah.
Untrue forms of Christianity.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much the same. That's a rough analogy.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. Why do you think Bahrain or the Qatar or the UAE wants this to end pretty soon? Because they have significant worker populations that are Shia.
Yeah.
If you go into these nations, they're run by a small group of Sunnis, and the large majority of some of these places are expats that are Shia
Okay, so
Bahrain in particular.
yeah. Okay, so Lee Monty asked the question, who do you trust? And I'm saying none of the above.
None of the above. They all lie. They all lie like crazy.
Yeah.
This thing that's happening with the United States against Iran, it's just one big lie. I mean, that they are trying to protect Americans. They take advantage of American ignorance. They take advantage of our ignorance. Well, the left and the right do. I'm not saying both political parties in the United States just love abusing the ignorance of their voters. That's why you'll never get much improvement in basic education down there. The politicians need you to be ignorant. But they're saying, oh, well, Iran's going to get a missile and bomb right here. They are a threat to the United States and they're going to bomb us. Baloney. They said that about North Korea. Did they do anything about it? Did North Korea ever bomb them? No. Will North Korea ever bomb them? North Korea has a missile and it has a bomb and it can get the United States. Why do you think they're not going to bomb the United States? Because they don't want to be turned into an ashtray.
Yeah.
Why do you think Iran wants a bomb? He wants it for a deterrent. It's surrounded by enemies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Israel's got 300 nuclear warheads. Pakistan's got a pile of them, and they're right on the border. And Pakistan has a significant minority, a Shia minority. 20 to 30% of Pakistan is a Shia minority country. What does that mean? If if the Shias in Iran and the Shias in Pakistan get together, they might want to have a separation thing. So Pakistan's got this bomb. Like you said, you do that, we're going to drop this bomb on you. That's a deterrent from Iran messing too much in its own politics. So that whole idea, I agree entirely. No, they should not have a bomb, and no other country should have bombs anyway. Because the more countries that have bombs, the more likelihood there's going to be a mistake made.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And so the less, the better.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, I would have said that was exactly what I said, like when I was a kid back in the 70s. And yet we've got kind of 4 times as many countries with bombs today than we had back in the 70s.
Now, I'm saying here that Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and the others are saying, okay, we're going to march with you. We're going to land. We're going to give our troops, and we're going to fight alongside you. Well, first of all, the Saudi military stinks. I mean, they can't even beat the Houthis. The Houthis are a bunch of people who live in practical caves. They got nothing. And yet they're able to beat back the mighty Saudi Arabian army, fully fitted up with U.S. weapons of the highest end. They don't have good military. Kuwait and UAE do not have good military. They would probably be more in the way of the United States than anything else. So I think this is just a pitch to Donald Trump, basically. Hey, we're behind you. We're 100%. We're going to come in and help you with your war, because Trump has said that NATO hasn't helped him out with his war. Well, he never asked them in the first place, and now he's demanding it. So he never asked for help. He demanded it after the war happened. So when he found out that he couldn't do what he wanted to do, when his Navy couldn't open up the Straits of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. So he says, "Look, I don't want to put my Navy in that shooting gallery called the Straits of Hormuz. So we want you, France, and you, UK, to put your ships in there."
And quietly, of course, the UK just raised their middle finger and said yes.
We'll get back to you on that one.
We'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So let's move on. Niagara Health is deeply concerned by racist graffiti and hateful online content that is targeting their staff.
That's our old buddy Rob Primerino. I always get Primero. How do you pronounce that name? It was Primo is the short version. Primo. And he goes by that because everybody does what I just did, messes up his last name, and it shouldn't be. it looks like it's easy enough to say when you read it, but when I have to say it, it doesn't come out too well. Yeah, so I'm not so sure. Now, what Primo's done here, he's said that the East Indians are taking care of the East Indians first. So he's saying the East Indian doctors are taking care of Indians first. He's saying that they sort of jump the queue. The hospital says that's impossible.
Yeah.
But they're saying that this is a racist statement. I don't know if you could qualify it as a racist statement. It may be something he thought he observed, and
but the original statement by Niagara Health is talking about incidents involving racist graffiti and online content targeting members of the staff. Now, you've just been talking about the online content, but not so much the graffiti.
So where is the graffiti and what does it say? It doesn't tell you.
Yeah, that actually is not something. I'm just trying to see about what they say about the graffiti, because in fact, I've not seen any graffiti outside hospitals or anything, and I'm intrigued by that because what you're saying is perfectly correct, but I don't know of any. I haven't seen examples of racist graffiti anywhere.
No, either way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen.
No, absolutely.
I'm wondering if they're interpreting the graffiti in a racist way. That would be then a matter of opinion, whether it's racist or it's just complaining. So if they don't put what was there in the article, which is, I hate that. Like racist graffiti. Well, what is that racist graffiti? What does it say? And if it's too crude to print in the paper, they can make it so that they can leave out the swear words and you can fill them in if you want, or they can give you a link where you can go and see it. So it's not directly on public display. Yeah. But what is that graffiti? I hate articles like this. Oh yeah, they put racist graffiti. Well, what is the racist graffiti? Yeah. Tell me what it is.
At least have a picture that shows a hospital daubed in the graffiti, even if we can't properly read the graffiti.
The problem is we don't have a lot of trust in our authorities. Like when they say it's racist, we don't necessarily believe them because their interpretation of what racist is might be very, very wide open.
Yeah.
And usually, depending on how woke the person is, I mean, as somebody sitting outside the hospital having a cigarette, that woke person will say he's trying to kill everybody in the hospital with fumes. They exaggerate. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, for example, I was reading the other day. I'm doing a defense to a claim, and it says the plaintiff is yada yada, a black man. The defendant is yada yada, a white woman. And immediately that I read that, well, first of all, it's like I don't care what color they are, and so first of all, my first impression there, he's playing the race card.
Was there any relevance to it?
None.
Was there any racist
None whatsoever.
Then it's completely irrelevant.
About, but it's going to be brought up in the claim. It's when we go to court, it's going to be racist. She's a racist, etc., etc.
Well, would you be able to point that out, saying this whole thing of pointing out the race is irrelevant and it distracts the course of justice?
Yeah, and exactly that. Thank you for saying that. And I think you're exactly the same way as everybody in our firm thinks. This whole thing is just complete nonsense. And that it's going to be brought up in the court.
Yeah, I think you would object to the way it's written in the first place.
Yeah,
it's deceiving. It's taking your eye off the ball, basically.
Yeah, and
what's that got to do with anything? If she or he was spitting out racist comments and that kind of thing, yeah, well, you could say, well, that's part of it, but if that's not the case,
the claim never included anything about racist comments being made. You know,
Yeah, so I don't
so
know.
it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. The first reaction I had when I read that was, "What? Why are you
yeah,
pointing this out?" Right?
yeah.
Because
It's
normally with a claim that's properly written, even with many claims, it's like the claimant, the plaintiff is X, an individual living in Toronto. The defendant is Y, an individual living in Mississauga. That type of thing.
yeah. My of course the most important question here is: did AI write that for him?
Yeah, I would be inclined to say no.
Yeah,
Although
maybe DI, dumb intelligence. Yeah,
fair,
dumb.
yeah, that's a fair question. I think it's not about AI wrote it for him. He picked it off of an American. He actually picked the claim off an American website.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
The individual picked the claim off an American website because it doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, back to Niagara Health.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Obviously, incidents are being reported to the NRP, and so they're investigating. But I wish that some of these sort of articles. I'm disturbed, of course, when I hear allegations of race hate, etc. But I want to see statistics about it, right?
well, here we have it. It says like
Or
it
facts.
says, geez, this thing is driving me crazy today. It says basically that the title of the article, racists activity, right? Racist activity, but it hasn't proved the case yet.
Mm-hmm.
How about possible or alleged racist? How about that? How about leading with that? Alleged racist comment,
Alleged
and
would
then
be much
explore
better, yeah.
what it is. And now the online thing suggests that the Indian doctors are being pressured by their own ethnic group to have them done first, right? To have the Indians treated first before anyone else in the waiting room.
Yeah, I don't see
So, no, I don't. I don't see that. Now, if I was in Libya, and I was in a hospital waiting, I could see the doctor taking his own family first, and others that he knew were friends and family of the family and friends, because that's the way they do things over there.
Yeah,
they're obliged to by their social network called.
well, actually,
Basta.
before his friends and family, he would of course attend Colonel Gaddafi's family first, wouldn't he? Before he did his friends and family. And I'm talking back in the day, because that was obviously back in history when you did that, right?
Well, yeah. Well,
He would have known his place.
We had a guy working for us that was distantly related to Gaddafi, boy, and all that took. He had command. He could do anything. He could get past any rule and anything, right? All you had to do is tell him his name. I'm the fifth cousin of Colonel Gaddafi. Well, okay. Here you go. What do you want?
Here you go, sir. Right? Yeah. But again, we're talking different cultures here, right? We're talking a culture that doesn't permit that, right? Or shouldn't permit that. So if that actually is happening, then that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't like the way the article's written, because there's not enough proof that there's anything like that. Now, Rob Primo, he has a reputation. But remember, the first time we met him, it was his objections to priests' sexual abuse of children from Roman Catholic priests. And he was with our buddy William O'Sullivan, and there was two others as well. And they came in support of William O'Sullivan because they were against what? They were against protesting pedophilia in the Catholic Church, which was extensive. and they were really angry because the Catholic Church kept denying it or putting it off or minimizing it or whatever. Now,
I'm going to do my.
So that's one part of that. That's one part of the aspect of this guy. And now the other part is he's a vaccine denier too. And he was also, he seems to be on the fringe. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to do my best to actually say his name properly. Rob Primerano.
Yeah. Rob Primerano. I just can't stick with me. That's the way it goes with Primo. Yeah. However, we find that, and as a matter of fact, I've had little chats on Facebook about him, and that was in the case of the vaccines.
Yeah.
He felt that the vaccines were a scam, and that they were.
He's a right to his view, but
yeah. Well, look, I had no trouble with the vaccines. Most of anybody I knew had no trouble with the vaccines.
Yeah.
It didn't change us at all, one way or another. This big, huge baloney about them. I mean, there's probably some problems with them. Of course, there is always. But what are you going to do? You know what? I'm going to get my kid the vaccine. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him die of COVID.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a right to his view. Absolutely, he does. Right, but then also, and he's a right to protest his view if he believes in that. Right. And I see his chuck wagon outside of the St. Catherine's Court probably at least once a week nowadays.
Well, he's an activist. He's a kind of on the fringe activist.
Yeah.
Right-wing activist, basically. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. You have left-wing activists. You've got the woke crowd. You've got the right-wing woke crowd. The right woke, what it's called now. He might be in that group. What's called the right woke, the extremist views of the right. So there's this term that's come out lately, was the right woke, or the woke right. And of course, the left has already been associated with wokeness. Yeah. So, but now because of of the tendency of extremists, unusual views on the right, you might be termed a woke right activist.
Yeah,
because he seems to be really on the fringe a lot of the times.
Okay. In these times, leave it to say why. Okay. Okay, I think Rick was asking me about putting Primo's name properly up there, and I actually got rid of the search.
Look, he's pretty good. He's a pretty nice guy, but his beliefs are very unusual.
Oh, it's the same as Bam Bam Anderson is his name.
Oh, I haven't heard that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, they work together. They do a lot of work together. Anyway, all right, okay. Moving on. Just a last-ditch piece in a couple of minutes on this one. So the province is saying that forced Niagara amalgamation is off the table.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't have been on the table in the first place. So the province, but the province has sort of retreated a bit and said, okay, for now, we're not going to force anything down your throat. But that's kind of contrary to what they said in the first place. We're going to leave it up to Niagara. We're going to leave it up to Niagara. We're not going to force them. And now they say, okay, we're not going to force you. Well, you said you weren't going to force us anyway. So what's that all about? And then they've taken a step back and they said, well, we're going to have to reorganize not just Niagara, but other municipalities. Yeah. Don't think that this is just about Niagara. It's about municipalities Ontario-wide. Many of them are not being run too efficiently. Now, we find that the Niagara mayors are all for amalgamation. I think 8 of the 12 mayors were willing to adapt aspects of change, but not complete amalgamation. So they were open to all kinds of different changes that would make things more efficient, but they weren't going to go that route to go to amalgamation. We are just stuck exactly where we were. Now, Bob Gell, he kind of backed off of his initial sortie into the amalgamation debate before he was unwisely tossed out because of the Hitler thing. I still find that's really, really regrettable. You know, that his his reputation is besmirched like that, especially somebody as philanthropic as he has been throughout his life. He gives tons and tons of money. Why do you think the Gale Center is called the Gale Center? Well, it wasn't his idea. I mean, he came up with money. He says, look, you build it, I'll give it to you, but use a timeline. And this is typical of Bob, right? He doesn't like messing around, right? You want to build an arena? If you build it right now, if you start within X amount of time, I'll give you the $1 million. Otherwise, no. I'll give you the money. So that kind of forces the hand. It stops the sort of NIMBY stuff, and it stops a lot of the continually, hand wringing,
the humming and the hawing about whether that normally happens in local politics. Yes. Oh, we want to build this, but we don't know whether we want to do it here or there. Hey, this place on 4th Avenue is a great location, but we've also now got a place on Oakdale Drive that might be also a great location. We clearly can't make up our mind. Or I'm sorry, I just don't know what I'm doing. Right? Yeah. So he needs to.
I don't like the windows. I don't like the windows. Well, we want different windows.
Yeah. So I know Bob wanted to focus the mind. Bob Gale wanted to focus the mind, and that's why the Gale Center got done, for good or for bad. It did it, right?
It's for good. Look how much it's utilized. Look at all the kids who can play hockey now. Look at all the people who can play hockey, and during the winter or during other times, what they can play there and do.
How many tournaments go on there? How many tournaments?
Fantastic! It's way better. It's way better than we had before. Yeah. But let me get back to the point here. So Bob, in his typical thing, was completely came up with something that had to be answered within 12 days. Then he backed off on it a bit. Things get thrown, but he did get the ball rolling because the different mayors and the different municipalities are already making their comments. Okay, we're in favor for some change, but not a complete amalgamation. Others have said that. We are for amalgamation. So they've got the ball rolling. You know what I mean?
And Niagara on the Lake, Grimsby and Pelham have decided to reduce the number of elected members on council.
Yes. But as we always point out, that's a good thing. We are over-governed. We have too many. But you still need a lot that you still have to have enough there that you can be approached. So even in Bob Gale's numbers, they were only going to reduce it by about 1/3 of all the different politicians, which would not have made a whole lot of difference financially. The big thing is we've had huge tax increases, and amalgamation might help us with some of that. And now the various arguments are going out. Amalgamation says, yes, this will help us. Others say that, no, it won't. So this all has to be sorted out. And he got the ball rolling, but the province says it will not force amalgamation, which is nice of them. Thank you.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I think we can leave that one there. As and we're going to call it quits at that point. But there was an interesting piece that I sent you about this Egyptian pharaoh who changed sex.
Yeah, I read that, and I know all about Hatshepsut. I've been to her temple, and I know all about that, and I'm not so sure what they're talking about there. Oh, this is I don't know. I kind of worried that they're going to try to suggest that this is the first trans, type of person, that kind of thing. It's very clear. It's very clear.
Single,
Hepsheshet started to identify herself as a male when it was clear that she had the power of the pharaoh, and but she had to disguise the fact that she was a woman because it wouldn't work. And as a matter of fact, they've got images of her with a big erection. Yeah, this is Hepsheshet, the Queen Hepsheshet, and she's standing there with a beard and an erection.
yeah.
You know, so in the temple. So,
But again, these are pictures that could be more fanciful than real.
yeah, we'll find out. Anyway, just to wrap it up before the long weekend, I'd like to remind everybody of, like I do every day, Gaza. Gaza's a nightmare, continues to be a nightmare. The West Bank's a nightmare. These people need a place to live. They cannot continually be crushed and oppressed like this. In the 1967, a bunch of Jewish Israelis pointed out after the 67 war, if you hold on to Gaza and the West Bank, what you're going to do is you're going to oppress those people, and those people will fight back and they'll kill you, and then you'll do the same. You'll oppress them and kill them, and they will fight back and kill you, and you will oppress and kill them. So don't start with the oppression thing. Stay out of there. They wanted the Israeli army to get out of the West Bank and out of Gaza, or else they predicted what is happening. It happened, and it's exactly what's happened. That oppression leads to fight back. Fight back leads to more oppression. Murder times murder times murder. And then you get a huge scale type of murder where you get a couple of weirdos going across the border, killing 800 to 1,000 people. And then the retribution is 72,000 people killed in a collective punishment.
And counting.
Yes. And I also like to warn about Trump has made it very clear that he's okay with collective punishment. He says he's going to bomb Iran into the Stone Age. What is that going to do to the people of Iran? He is angry at the people of Iran. He's going to do collective punishment. He's going to hurt everybody in Iran. That's what he says. He's going to bomb them back to the Stone Age. And I've heard this before. They use that same terminology in Vietnam. When they went to bomb Laos and Cambodia, the general said, we're going to bomb them back to the Stone Age in the Vietnamese War. Look, what are you going to do? You're going to hurt a lot of people. You're going to kill a lot of people. You're going to huge hardships. You're going to have every Iranian hate you if you do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And one thing, less than 3 months now less than 4 months to the World Cup.
Yes, and I hope Iran comes and plays.
So do I.
Because this is one connection to real civilization. You know, you don't have to. But anyway,
even if they play in Mexico and Canada, I hope they come and play.
But what disturbs me is this collective punishment. The Israelis used a collective punishment against the Palestinians and killed 25,000 children, 72,000 people. The United States wants to do the same thing. It wants to use collective punishment against the Iranian people because they were oppressed by a weirdo Rama Shia religious theocracy. So they're going to punish everybody for that?
And it's something that the US doesn't even understand.
No, they're stupid. And as I said before, the response to Donald Trump's message by the president of Iran made the president of Iran was much more truthful and honest response than Trump's was. Trump's was full of lies and misleading stuff. And unfortunately for us here in North America, we are rather an ignorant population here in North America. We don't know what we should know about the world because we are the most powerful country and should be the best educated, but they take advantage of our ignorance all the time. Yeah. Just like George Bush took advantage of the ignorance of the American people when they were mad about being bombed on 9/11. Iraq had nothing to do with that, but he conflated it so that it looked as if they did. And Trump's doing the same thing here. So anyway, I hope the thing ends very soon No more people dying. That doesn't mean anything.
All right. And Dave?
Without further ado, I bid you do pray for peace, everyone.
Bye.